Hey, what is up you guys? It is Victoria, back again for another video, and today I am super excited to share with you guys my stretching experience. So I'm doing this because I never got to make my journey story, I guess you could call it, during the time that I was stretching my ears to where it's at now. I have like the biggest regret when it comes to that because I should have done it. Like I should have recorded from the very beginning so that you guys could see like how the size progresses, what I went through each time. I don't know, I guess I didn't think of that at the time, and yeah, I should have, because it's something that's really important to me now. So to make up for that, I am basically just going to take you through each size, each thing that I did, regrets that I have, and etc. So without a long introduction, let's get into it. So the very first size I had was a 14 gig. I'm going to go by gauges, gig, whatever I call them, but that's gauges is what you're supposed to call them. I don't know where I got gig from. I started off with 14 gauge and I thought this was the coolest thing in the world. I didn't have major stinging or anything like that because of the fact that I had a piercing to begin with. So I was perfectly fine, and this was my very first stretch and I was super proud. I had no problems with my first stretch, and then I was talking to my friend about going up to the next size, and she said, well, the difference between the 14 and the 12, or sorry, the 12 and the 10 is basically nothing, so just go from the 14 to the 10. So I did, and I have no regrets. I think this is the 10. I could be very wrong. It looks a little bit bigger than a 10, so I don't exactly know what it is, but I'm just going to show you. This was, I'm pretty sure, sorry, I'm looking outside. I'm pretty sure this is the taper that I used to stretch. If not, it would have been this one. And I think they're the same, so yeah. I used both of them at one point, so I'm going to use the blue again. It's a little more intense, or less intense. And yeah, I use this taper to stretch. I don't know if you know this, but you're supposed to use the tapers only for stretching, and then you put the jewelry or plug in after. You're not to keep this in, not because it's unhealthy, unsanitary, yada yada. It just doesn't, like, what's the point in having, you know, stretched ears if you're just gonna put an ugly taper inside? I think they're ugly, like they're long, they're gross, they're weird. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you knew that, but for beginners, there's a little piece of information. And this is the plug that I used, and this was sick to me. Like, it was the very first plug that I was like, this is real, like this is so cool, my ears stretched, oh my gosh, like I was so excited about it. And yeah, I had no problems with that. Going up to the next size from the 14 to the 10. I don't suggest it for everybody, it's not for everybody, but that's what I did, and I never skipped a size after that. I did do other things, but we'll get into that. So for the next size that I did, this was my 8. This was a taper that is also jewelry. So I was kind of bending the rules, but a lot of people do this. These are called spiral tapers. I got this from a store that doesn't specialize in tapers, only has probably up to a 6 size in gauges, and yeah, I was lame at the time and didn't really understand the whole, you know, going to the right shops and things like that. So it worked though, it was perfectly fine, like it still stretched my ear. This is an acrylic spiral taper, and I used it as jewelry as well. The only downfall with this 8 gauge was sleeping on it. Yeah, just very uncomfortable, like it would bend up, and I'm surprised it didn't break, to be honest, because I'm like a pretty restless sleeper. But my only thing was I had to like bend it down to like fit the side of my ear so that it felt like it was lying on nothing. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I basically had to like press it up against the side of my head so that I didn't break it and so that it didn't bug me all night. So that was the only downfall, but I wore this the entire time. This is how I stretched. This is the taper that I used, everything. And yeah, that's what I used for that. And then began the big wigs, I guess you could call it. I went down to the 6. It was getting real. Things were moving along, and I was excited about it. So I used this. It was very similar to the last one. Yes, they are different. I don't know if you can tell. Just also a disclaimer, I got all of these from the store. I got these all from the store Spencer's Gifts. I don't know if you have that where you are, but it's a really cool shop that sells stretchers and tapers and all that kind of stuff. So I suggest going there because they're awesome. I used this one to go up to the 6, yes, and this is what I used to stretch. And as you'll be able to tell, there's tape on these. These were completely blue at one point, but I decided otherwise. I got very impatient with my stretching, and I decided to use a tape, which can be smart and can be very stupid. is what I did, if you didn't get that. I started using tape when I came to the 6 because I was getting impatient. I wanted the bigger, you know, holes and everything like that, so I started taping, which that can be totally fine, but don't use electrical tape. Not suggested. There is a chemical inside electrical tape. I don't know what it's called, but it's not good for you. It can cause infections, all sorts of crazy things can happen. Throw it out and be done with it because it ain't good for you. I went from a 6 to a 4 pretty fast. I have about, I want to say there's 2 on here and 3 or 4 on here. I had a good ear and a bad ear. And yeah, I went from a 4 to a 2 in probably 2 or 3 weeks. There are multiple other types of tape that you can use, and I'll list them here. There might be a few cuts because I didn't remember them all and I have them written down, but yeah. The other tapes that I suggest are plumber's tape, Teflon tape, which is also known as PTFE tape, and then there's bondage tape, I believe it's called. Yes, bondage tape. And a lot of people say, and a lot of websites say that you can find that basically at any sex shop. I've never gotten it myself. Obviously, I just went with electrical tape, and that wasn't a good idea, but I did. Those are other types of tape that I do suggest that are a lot healthier. The bondage tape, I've heard, is also a lot thicker, so it helps you stretch a little bit quicker, and yeah, so there's your little disclaimer for that. There's other types that you should use instead of what I did. Yeah, going from the size 6 to the size 4 was brutal because the size 4 is a pretty decent stretch. It's getting your ear to a good place. I tried stretching, this is the 4, I tried stretching from the 6 to the 4 probably 3 or 4 different times with this. I didn't get a taper for the 4 because I didn't want to spend the money because I didn't want to stay at 4 for a long time. So my friend gave me these, sanitized them, cleaned them, and they're perfectly fine. But yeah, I tried to shove this in probably 3 or 4 different times with massive amounts of pain and impatience, and I decided to, you know, wait, obviously. Like I had to be patient with it, and I continued to tape the little size 6s that I had, and I got a pretty decent size. So when I got these in, they finally slid in pretty decent. Like there was a little bit of tension, but I got them in, and yeah. Not any blood. I've never had any blowouts, nothing like that, so it was perfectly fine. But yeah, I got this in probably after, I want to say, a month or less through taping as well. So I was going through up a size, but very slowly, and staying at like the same size taper or the same size plug. So yeah, I started with that gold plug, which they're really pretty, and they're also from Spencer's, I believe. And then I went up to this, and they are tunnels. They are my first, I want to say silver. They're not acrylic, that's basically what I want to say, because I was all acrylic up until now, and now. But yeah, as you can also tell, there is tape on these. I got massively impatient with this as well, eventually. But these are the first tunnel that I got, and they were so exciting because you can actually see through them. It was getting legit, and at this point I was like, okay, I'm an ear stretcher. I was super proud. So yeah, but I did tape these. I probably have 3 or 4 different layers of tape on these. These probably last me a month and a half, and these were the only size that I stayed at, or like the only style I stayed at for the whole time, because I just really liked them. They were good for work, all sorts of things like that. So I stayed here, and these probably have, yeah, 3 or 4 different layers of tape until I finally got up to the size 2 that I'm at now, which is just under my goal size. I'm thinking 0. But I want to stay here for at least a year, but I'll get into that in a second. So I stretched pretty decently fast through probably a span of 6 months or less, much less probably actually. And yeah, so now I'm at the size 2 that I'm at. I stretched from the 4 to the 2 with these Batman plugs. I never got tapers for the 4 or for the 2 either. I don't know why, it just didn't happen. I didn't think about it. I did have a little bit of blood after I stretched, but not while I did. I didn't have any blowouts while I stretched from this, but it stung super bad for probably a good 3 days after I got this size in, and I was like, these are gonna sting forever, holy crap. But no, it was only 3 days. I didn't have any reddening. Like normally your whole like bottom half of your ear turns red. Mine didn't, it just stung a lot. So that was decent, I guess. Sorry, my camera died there. But yeah, I have a little mini collection here. These are gold, not acrylic, they're, wow. Yeah, for now I'm just gonna call them gold tunnels because I'm having a brain fart and I can't think of the type that it is. I have actually titanium. That's what they are. Woo! Go Victoria. Okay. Yes, titanium tunnels, and these are gold, and I have a set of black too. They're basically matte, but they do have a little bit of shine to them. I have these two here. They came as a set, which is awesome. I love tunnels because I love the holes and everything like that. These are double. Oh my gosh, what is it called? I can't think of anything right now. Double flare, that's what they are. I am having a bunch of brain farts today. But yeah, I got those, super awesome, love them. I got all these in the same trip, by the way, and all at Spencer's Gifts. Yeah, and then I got these, which are what's in my ear now, and they are silicone. They're a little bit difficult to get in. After a few different times, you're totally fine though. So they're my favorite. They make your ear hole like look a little bit bigger than it actually is, which I love. And then I got these other ones, which actually I don't know the material of them. They're kind of like if you scrape on them, it feels like a chalkboard. I don't know. I hate that. I hate that. But yeah, and they're really super cool. They have like this really cool matte black to them. They have like the I don't know, helper to keep it in. I can't think of the name of that either. And yeah, they're super cool. I have yet to wear them because I love wearing these ones because they're comfortable throughout the day. You don't feel like they're in. And then you can sleep on them at night and it's totally 100% normal. Like it doesn't feel like there's anything in your ear. I haven't had any fallout yet. Like neither of them have had any problems. So I'm super happy about that. And yeah, that's my little mini collection of twos. I want to stay here for about a year and a half, I want to say. And then go up to the 0 because I did spend a lot of money on my twos and I don't know, I don't want to waste my money for one thing and I don't want to, you know, skip too fast. So my thoughts in my head right now are stay here for at least a year and see where I feel on that. By the time, you know, I've had these in for a year, I'll be away at school, so I don't know if I'll even have the money to stretch then, but yeah, that's what I'm hoping. My goal size is 0. I might get addicted and end up going to 00, but I want to be able to stretch back down if I get tired of having stretchers in. So I don't know. It all depends on what I feel in the future and things like that. But as of right now, that's what I want. Yeah, I highly suggest silicone. That's my #1 thing. I highly suggest not using electrical tape and taking your time, being patient. I know it's so much easier said than done, believe me. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, you know what to do. Give it a great big thumbs up. Comment down below any other ideas you guys have for videos for me to do because I am in summer mode of making all sorts of videos for you guys and I'm really excited about it. So be sure to put comments down below of suggestions that you have personally and I will do my best to reiterate them. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.
We just living in the moment if you can't tell.